Hey Scrapper Names fans, how are we all? So I'm up with a bit of a Challenge Tuesday video for you, although I'm hoping this will get to you on Tuesday. I've had some little hiccups that didn't quite get this voiceover done when I would have liked. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that my little fella was not so well, so we have been busy at the hospital with him. Anyway, I'm home now and we are chilling out, so I'm going to get this one done. So I'm doing the Scrap the Boys November challenge for this one. And it's the You Plus Me. So this time we get to, the females in the boys' lives get to be in the picture. So I've got a gorgeous picture here of the day I think my son returned at the beginning of this year after being on holidays for 3 weeks on the Christmas break with his dad. And he came back here. So yeah, it was a nice photo. So I am using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Boys Rule collection. I thought this was absolutely perfect. Plus I had this kit sitting there that hasn't been touched yet and needs to be delved into or dived into. And I printed this cut file off, or cut this cut file, however you want to say it. And it says, I love you to the moon and back, which is kind of our little saying, which we usually, say to each other. I've always said to him since he was a baby, but now he says it to me as well. But yeah, so I thought it was perfect. So I'm just backing this cut file. Bit higgledy-piggledy. Couldn't decide what papers to use. I actually fussed for ages as to what I wanted to do with this cut file, as in what I was going to back with it, what sort of design I was going with. In the end, I kind of just turned the camera on and went, you know what? Stuff it, let's just roll with it. And this is what comes out, and I am absolutely in love with the way this layout turns out. It takes a bit of a turn, a mixed media turn shortly, and you'll see that. But for now, I am just, backing the cut file with some of the pattern papers from the Boys Rule collection. As you can see, I used the moon cutout piece to measure out or draw out the heart shape, the moon shape. So that was good. And I've actually kept those pieces, the words or the letters, as well as the moon and the stars cutouts. They're perfect cutouts because I could probably use them again on another layout, I'm thinking, So, I'm keeping them aside. I actually did another cut file the night after, or the night I did this one, and kept the letters as well because I'm like, well, you know what? 2 for the price of 1 kind of thing. So why not? Now I'm just playing around, as you can see, still backing those stars. I wanted each of those to be different, so each of the elements of the cut file popped and were, noticeable off the page. I so love that pattern paper. That is the moon one. I loved it when I got it in my Kitaholic kit. And this is this is my Colour Blast kit from a few months ago that I have not touched. I just haven't had a chance to get into it, and I was sort of cleaning out my drawers and that in my Alex drawers where I store all my kits, and thought, you know what, get it out, get it used. So that's what I'm doing. So as you can see here, just using some wet glue. This glue actually stuck much quicker than a normal sort of PVA craft glue, so it didn't give a lot of leeway to move things around in position. So I had to just go with it. But I used a wet glue when I stuck these down because on the cut file it just gives you a quick chance to sort of move it into line with the pictures, the cutouts and things like that. So just a tip. Now I'm going to back my photo onto the opposites page, so the B, I guess it's the B side, A side, I'm not sure which, of that moon, the pattern paper I used to back the moon. As you can see, I've gone with the darker side. I debated whether or not to matte my photo, and then I kind of go, I'm liking the looks of the matting on the photo. I think because we're both wearing like really pale shirts and the background's real pale, it's a bit of a not a great photo. That I think the layering behind now makes it stand up a bit more off that stark white cardstock background. So good choice. And despite not being a fan of the colour green, overly a fan of the colour green, I actually liked this pattern paper both times. This time and the last time I got it in a kit. I didn't find it too hard to use. It was just that right colour that it toned well with other, obviously with the kit, with other features, so that you could, you know, make a pocket page out of it like card, or, you know, use it as a backing for your 12 by 12 layouts and things like that, which is what I've done previously. So go with that, and now I think I'm just fussing around. You can see to the right, there's the kit there, sort of thing. I've got the ephemera pack, I've got some wood veneer stars, more pattern papers. So it's a bit of a like open, it's kind of like when I open a kit for the first time and I'm like, whoa, so many choices. What do I do? So that's what this was. So there's a lot of editing in this where I cut out a lot of thinking time. So I've taken this, you can see here, I'm playing around with this kind of, it's a bit of a frame kind of piece. I really like the look of it here, so I end up using it, as you'll see, as a bit of a layering piece. And I actually think it adds just that touch of interest to these layers. I've got a thing at the moment about, and you've probably heard me talk about it in other videos, layering. So I seem to feel like I layer a lot. And I'm trying to find different ways of matting my photos, and yes, you can use tissue paper and those sorts of things, but yes, I'm trying to come up with a creative way of being a bit different with the way I map my photos. So this was something a little bit different, I guess. And I think in one of my Kitaholic videos, actually, Kitaholic Kits is what I'm referring to, a design team for that company. I've used ephemera pieces in between the layering just to give that little bit of interest to each layer as such. And that's what this frame does. Whilst it seems a really subtle touch, it just, if you look, it adds that little bit of difference around the photo, which I quite liked. Oh, I wanted to use this camera, I just realised I didn't use it. Oh, bummer. Anyway, so I really liked this little banner piece. Worked well there now with the layers. So as you can see, I am literally just fussing around. There's so much cool ephemera there. I was like, what do I want? You know, what do I want where? What sort of, you know, go with your theme, and you know, it's going in his layout, in his book, so I want it to be a bit boyish, obviously. And this is where everything changes. So I got some clear gesso, and I decided that's what I'm going to do. I think it needs some mixed media. It's too white. I think that's my problem, is that whilst I love the cut file and the pattern paper background, I find that I don't like a lot of white space at times. Probably depends on the mood, but generally if I look back, my style sort of is not a lot of white pattern paper left. White cardstock background. So I apply gesso everywhere because I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this. And then I trim it down, because I then decide that I think it needs a bit of a frame. And what I should have done was been really ingenious here and cut the center of this paper out. But the other reason I added this is to add a bit of stability to the paper. Whilst I added the gesso, it did add a bit of wrinkle to the paper. This is just normal Kaisercraft cardstock, so it's just the white one. So it's not, you know, it's not primed for mixed media or anything like that. So it did start to warp. I had decided then that I was going to probably do something using a really wet media, Bajinga, my Dylusions ink sprays, which are all over my fingers because I needed to clean them out because they weren't working the last time I tried using them. They work really well now, and we're all over my fingers and my kitchen sink. Thank you very much. But anyway, so yes, so I've added that pattern paper bit to the background just to add that stability as well, as a bit of interest around the white paper. And yeah, so I go with this periwinkle blue, I think it is, which I love this colour. It needs to have some glitter in it, I reckon. A bit of sparkle would be perfect for this colour, I think. And then I debate here. Am I going to add the green or not? Because I went to add the green because there's a little touch of green in that moon pattern paper there. And then I said, nah, leave it. You know, I sat there literally for ages going, oh, should I do it? Should I do it? and then realised that the green I would be really annoyed if it stuffed it up. So I leave it, which I'm glad I did, and just move on. So as you can see, for me, I really love the way that packaging technique worked. I love that it's gone through and around the cut file a bit. It's come down the page just a little bit, but not too much into where my photo is. Then I build a little cluster here to the right of my photo, which adds some more interest into this white section. I don't know what it is about white cardstock. I just can't have a lot of it. Is that what you call negative space? I can't remember. I'm not up on the technical crafty terms. Sorry, peeps. And I could have added lots of clusters and bits and pieces at the top, and I was going to, but then I didn't want to take away from the cut file, so I was like, too many decisions. So yes. It was one of those layouts where I ended up going a little bit bonkers, as you can hear by my voiceover. Isn't it funny? I think our mood really, really can determine the way a layout or a creation will absolutely go. I had the ink on my hands from cleaning out my sprays, and I was just like, I love the look of the ink on my hands. I'm like, it feels like I've been crafty and, messy. So then I come and sat back down at my table and I was like, I'm going to use these. I am so going to use them on this layout now. I know what I want to do to fix it. Or change it up a bit. So that's what I did. I was feeling adventurous. Now I've got some of these wood veneer stars. I keep going to call them hearts, I don't know why. And I was going to mix it up between having these sort of open stars and then these sort of full wood ones. And then the full wood ones to me with the blue mixed media background I didn't think worked. I thought they were too blocky or something. So I really liked the look of the open stars, and that's what I end up doing. See if I look there. The blue pops through and around these stars a bit better, and I think that's what makes the difference with them. And I just adhered them with that white PVA glue there, but I think I added 4 instead of 3 this time, which is unusual. But I just think they add that little bit of interest, another sort of element, the wood element to the layout, a bit of dimension too, because they pop up a little bit. But that openness of them allows them to not look too cluttered on the page, opens it up so you can still see that mixed media, which is great. And even here, I was going to add some of the stars from the ephemera pack and then decided that it would look too cluttered now and just left it. These stickers have been sitting in my stash for ages. They were bought deliberately to use on my son's layouts or my nephew's layouts. They're part of, I think, a jelly bean soup, whatever it is, collection, I think. They're a bit old, so hence I think the adhesive is going on them, so I've had to re-stick them down a bit. They were a bit finicky. And I really wanted something down here in the bottom corner next to the photo. I really wanted a cluster there, but the ephemera pack just didn't have quite what I was looking for. So I've added a little bit, 3 pieces of the cards, like the die cuts, and then I just add these stickers. And as you can see here in this bottle, fine line bottle, I've got glossy accents, which I know normally you would use on things to add like a glossy coating, which I really want to try. Actually, I've seen another scrapper. Who is it? Virginia, Gold Dove Crafts. Oh, I think that's what she is. She's been using them on some of her titles and things, the glossy accents, and it looks amazing. So I've got to do it myself, actually. Try and remember that for my next layout. I was certain I edited this bit out for you, so I apologise that you have to watch me stick them down. Oh, look, that heart. Look at that. Oh, hearts in my mind. Look at this arrow. Oh, no, there you go. I was going to say, look at the arrow. Magically moved. So I'm just adding the last little touches to this page, which I add some sequins. Where are they? It should be here short. Oh, this bit kept sticking up and it was driving me bonkers, so I had to put it down. So grab out. I knew it needed something else. As I said, that ink needed some sparkle, so I ended up getting my sequins out actually. And again, I debated between sequins or some Heidi Shine, some gold Heidi Swap Colour Shine in like a navy colour that I have. But I thought I'll move away from the ink and add another element to the page design element, and I added these sequins instead. Some mix of small and big ones just scattered throughout that blue ink background, just to add, again, that little bit of sparkle, a little bit interest. And I think that's it. I don't think I add the border. Done. See? So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe.